Leo. Okay, what is going on here? I took him out the box. Unrequited love. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. That was not serious, you guys. Let me go ahead and get you started. Get you started. Honey. Leo. Bam, that's you too. Fix fire. Let me go ahead and get you started. Recalibrating your emotions. Right? Considering. Cleansing. Washing. Spirit cleanse. Here you are again. Right? Expressing things through action. Going somewhere with purpose and intention. Right? Right? There's a lot of fire here. Which is you. You are a lot of fire, right? Alright. Let's give Leo a chance. I gotta do that one more time. Okay. Okay, this makes sense, Leo. Alright, so the first card that I'm going to read is the Four of Cups, and this is the Moon in Cancer. Okay, so this is talking about some level of emotional complacency that you might be set in, because the Four is talking about things that become settled, right? It also has to do with, ability, capability, awareness, right? Being aware of something, right? Prompting, what's being prompted, right? What is your emotional stimulation? Where is it coming from? You know what I mean? Are you motivated or are you feeling complacent? Right? This four also has to do with an element of power and control of your emotions, and not like I'm going to control my emotions by not letting myself feel, but not letting your emotions get in the way of being able to allow yourself to function well, properly. Right? Okay? And then this is talking about staying the course, right? But staying the course in a sense where it's kind of like understanding that changes need to be made at different times, right? You know? It's kind of like everything has its time, everything has its period, everything has its purpose. This is talking about intention, it's talking about truths, psychology, right? So these could be like personalities that don't mix. Or these could be like personalities that are, detached. Or you might be feeling like you're getting away from something that was a norm for you. Right? Because the sixes do talk about norms. Right? And Aquarius talks about changing the norm. This is Mercury and Aquarius. And Mercury is also talking about, uh, you know, changing things up, right? Adapting to a change that's taking place here by way of friendship, right? So some commitment could be turning into a friendship for some of you guys. You could be moving away from something that once was a challenging commitment, right? The sixes are related to the Lover's card, right? This is talking about a change in your perspective in terms of like who you thought your lover might have been or was supposed to be, right? Also, it has something to do with your job. You know what I mean? Maybe some of you left a job, right? Or maybe there was a change that happened, right? A sudden change that caused you to have to, you know, reconsider whether or not you wanted to stay at a job, or maybe a move maybe had something to do with a job. You know what I mean? Because the sixes do have to do with, work and responsibilities, right? Maybe you had a responsibility to move on from something, right? Okay. And then you have the Three of Pentacles, which is Mars and Capricorn. Mars is exalted in Capricorn because it kind of gives, Capricorn gives Mars a purpose, right? Mars has intensity and energy and drive and passion. And Capricorn is saying, okay, well, we're going to do something with that. So what are you going to do with your passion and your drive and your energy? You know what I mean? What are you creating, right? Because then it has to do with this 3 here, receiving, right? Being open, right? Allowing, right? Things to come to you, grace, doing it without force. Even though this is Mars, it's kind of like being efficient. So there is no force because there is efficiency here, right? We're asking for that, And this is the 3rd house, which is talking about Mercury and communications. So you might be talking to somebody about work or changing work, or somebody might be interested because it's a 3. So the 3 talks about interest, right? Attraction as well. This could be like a new attractive job, right? Or something could be gaining interest, or your interest could be going in the direction of something, in relation to a job. Right? The 3s are also, they're related to the Empress, so it's talking about pleasure. This is talking about pleasure through work, right? Do you see yourself loving what you do, right? This is definitely loving what you do. So you definitely want to go into something like that. Let me put these cards back up in here. Actually, I'll leave them out, I guess. All right. So here we go. I'm going to cut the deck. Work, responsibilities, right? Restrictions, financial restrictions. Here we go. There's the Empress right there. I was just talking about her. Hi. Let me know if you can hear me. I literally just started pulling cards. I was shuffling the cards, and these are the cards that came out in the pre-shuffle. So some of you are dealing with some work issues probably, or some relationship issues, or maybe your relationship is affecting your work, or maybe, relationships and work have affected the way that you see yourself, or how you feel about yourself. It's gotten you into a place of feeling maybe stuck in your feelings, right, about something. You need to be able to see what it is that it's showing you, right? And then the second card that came out for you was the 6 of Swords, which is talking about moving on from something, right? A change of perspective, And then the 3 of Pentacles, which is related to the Empress, which is at the bottom of the deck for you, which is talking about pleasure from work, pleasure through work, seeking pleasure. It's also with attraction, right? All right, let me lay these cards out. Leo, finally doing you. Okay. I hope you can hear me. I think the volume's fine. Okay. So, let me go ahead and flip over the first card at the center of the reading. 2 of Pentacles. So, it's talking about change. Hold on one second. Oh my God. It's a LaCroix. It's tangerine. I usually go for like grapefruit, which is not very far, but I'm not very used to drinking LaCroix. I used to drink them a lot, but then I stopped drinking them because what am I getting now? I go to Trader Joe's now, so I get my seltzer from there. Change, right? You're starting to see some results, some progressions, some things that matter, right? It's a 2, so it also is talking about what's being revealed to you, right? Shown to you what's possible through the work, right? Because it's Jupiter and Capricorn. It does talk about the possibilities within the restrictions, right? And being able to identify what is available to you, right? Because the 2s do talk about things being available to you. The 2nd house, right? Let me know if you guys can hear me, okay? I'm just trying to make sure if my volume is okay. But the 2s do have to do with change and applying yourself because it's Capricorn, right? So you could be really applying yourself in many different ways here because it's Jupiter. So it's talking about a wealth of application, right? So a lot of you could be filling out a lot of applications, or a lot of you could just be applying yourself more at work. You could have been giving more responsibility at work as well, because Capricorn does talk about, being rewarded promotions in terms of like how available you make yourself, or how you adhere to your responsibilities in the job that you do, right? What's expected of you, right? Because the twos are talking about expectations, because the second house is Taurus, and that does have expectations. I expect things to be here every day the same way. I expect to know where these boundaries are. So these are talking about boundaries as well, right? And those are the restrictions, okay? And seeing what you can do with that, right? And when you start to do things within those restrictions, you start to see like, wow, I was a little bit more, I had more possibilities, right? I wasn't limited, right? You were restricted, but you weren't limited. So that means that you can actually still get to where you're trying to go. There just might be some challenges that you might face because, you're sensitive to the restrictions that you already have placed upon you, right? Because the twos are kind of like things that are kind of like being reflected, right? So you're seeing something that already existed, but it's just kind of being revealed to you through the challenges that you're kind of like faced with, right? And what you have to do and how you have to apply yourself, right? So if something seems difficult or something seems tough because you don't know what you're working with, right? Or you're trying to get your hands dug into whatever it is you're working with to see if you're working with Play-Doh or clay, you know what I mean? You're getting an understanding of how to apply yourself. And this is the Knight of Swords, okay? So this is talking about a situation, right? And situations bring about, our awareness and our how we respond to a situation, right? Because the Knights all respond to a situation, and it's talking about how you respond to a situation confidently, right? the Knight of Swords also has, this is in the challenge position. So this could be talking about your mouth or something that you're saying, it could be too much of communication, or too maybe jumping the gun, you know what I mean? Because Gemini kind of like does kind of deal with like kind of false starts in a sense, right? Because Mercury is an esoteric ruler of Aries, and Aries kind of has that idea of like, oh, things being sort of accidental. But, besides that, this is 1/3 of Taurus, right? So it is talking about what you have, and you could be trying to communicate very hard or very, fiercely, right? With a lot of energy because it's dependent on you having something, right? Or someone could be asking you for something that you don't have, right? And that could be upsetting you, right? And that's what's making you aware of your restrictions here, right? Being that this is a night, right? Anyway, that's just like a channel message right there. Okay, so let's look at this sun position. In the sun position, you have the sun in Scorpio. So, this is a 6, so it is talking about change, and how you connect to changes that occur, right, within your fixed nature, right, Leo. And this is a card that squares you because it's sun in Scorpio. Scorpio's ruling planet is exalted in her sign. So there are some common interests with the signs that square each other. And since this is Scorpio and you are Leo, this is going to be talking about some tensions that are occurring, within your emotional process, right? And your psyche, right? Because you're relating to a past experience that might have affected you or may have tarnished something for you, right? And you could just be bringing your mind into those places of either it's the thought patterns, right? Because the sixes are talking about patterns, right? And things that you do regularly, right? So you could be reminiscing regularly on something, right? You're kind of like doing it in a hopeful way. This may even be even past before something that happened to you, right? Because the sixes are talking about things that happen, right? Because we're being critical of things that happen, and we're analyzing that. So that's what it is. You're analyzing the past and you're being critical of the past, right? And this is really saying focus on the now. right? Because Scorpio is fixed and the sun is fixed and you are fixed for real. And this is also talking about understanding where you fall or where you are, understanding where you are. Definitely understanding where you are. I'm going to have to get my charger right now because it's kind of like telling me that, um, the battery's going down. And I knew that would happen. Hold on one second. I was hoping that that would not happen, but it's okay. Okay, so I'll just double check it and hopefully the message will come up and let me know. I don't want this to die. But let me continue to go, okay? So yeah, you're reminiscing about the past and you're really thinking about it. Mercury retrograde is going to be in Scorpio for those of you that are Leo risings. That's your fourth house of home and family and environments, right? And things that make you feel safe, right? And it's also, what motivates you, right? Your motivation, right? Because your emotional process or your emotional state is going to affect your motivation. Okay, and the sixth house is talking about motivation as well. So your emotional state is definitely going to affect your motivation. And once we go into that Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, you're gonna have to really focus, right, and be very like critical of how you are seeing things versus how you are how you are feeling things versus what is really going on. Ace of Rods in the moon position, okay? So this is talking about a new beginning, right? It could even be talking about a new beginning in work or just a new beginning in yourself, right? We've come full circle, right? There was an ending and now you're at a new beginning, right? So it's kind of like asking you to set yourself free of something, right? And focus on the now. Like I said, focus on the now. And it's funny because then after I said that, the Ace of Rods came up, and that really is talking about potent energy and focus, right? Doing something, getting something started, right? This is a spark of energy, right? And drive, motivation, getting you started, right? And it's focus, right? There are really no sword cards here. You have the Knight of Swords, but it's in the immediate influence and the challenge position, okay? In your past, you have the Ten of Pentacles. So this is Mercury and Virgo. This is talking about the completion of something. This could have to do with, work, right? Or just like a reality that you might have been attached to in the past. You know what I mean? Because this is talking about a closing of something, right? Something that this is also wealth, right? So you're putting something behind you, like a better time, right? Or maybe there was a time that you appreciate a little bit more than where you find yourself now. Because in the past, this is where you were. But in the present, things are a little bit harder now, right? Things were kind of a little easier in the past because this is Jupiter energy with its 10, right? But it's also kind of like bringing you back full circle, you know? What do you value now? It's like you value things differently, right? Right? Because you've come full circle. It's like you wouldn't do things the same way that you've done them in the past. You know what I mean? Because you've kind of like crossed the threshold, right? Now let's look at your anxieties. Right, definitely. You've crossed the threshold. Look, I said that. And then here we go with the Chariot. You've crossed the threshold. This is in your 12th house, or blockages, right? And that's where things are being revealed to you, for sure. This Chariot card is related to how you relate to an experience that might have held you back and made you feel less than confident, right? Not as encouraged, right? A little, you had this Four of Cups here that came up in the pre-shuffle, and that's the moon in Cancer, and the moon rules Cancer, and here you have in your anxieties the movement forward, right? But the anxieties and the movement forward is related to the new beginning. So something had to end in the past for you to realize what it was going to take for you to move forward, right? Because now it's time for you to just kind of like go. I'm sorry. All right. Page of Pentacles in the Mars position, right? The Page of Pentacles is double Earth, right? So that's achievement, right? Because the Earth energy is talking about achievement, what you can achieve, what you can get, what's of value, and it's talking about quality, right? It's talking about quantity too. They're both talking about quality and quantity. But where do you lie? Where is it on the spectrum for you? Are you only concerned with quality, or are you only concerned with quantity? And what do those things mean to you? You know what I mean? But this is saying that you're going into a new beginning. There's a job, right? This is saying that you're going to get a new responsibility, right? Give yourself something to do, right? That's going to make you feel good, right? But you're going to be at the beginning of stages of something, so it really is going to be a learning process for you, right? Yes. It's definitely kind of like bringing in a new idea of something, right? A new challenge, a new lesson is being learned. This might even be like just training, new training or something like that, or just a straight up new job or promotion for sure, right? In your Venus position, the Death card, right? So there was an ending to a relationship for some of you that you feel bad about, perhaps. You know what I mean? It's the completion of something, right? You felt safe within this thing, right? You felt some kind of stability from it, but now it's kind of like being taken away, right? It's like, you kind of have a soft spot as well, because in the sun position you have the sun in Scorpio, and then right here in the Venus position was a pleasure, right, and harmony. There was an ending that needed to take place. It was actually quite, probably even karmic here. You know what I mean? Because Pluto is actually in Capricorn right now with Saturn. Okay, and this is talking about letting go of control, right? Releasing yourself from something, right? You know, not holding back, right? Or not holding on to something. And it's in the Venus relationship. It's in the Venus position, so it's talking about not holding on to a relationship, you know? Scorpio has to do with cutting. And Scorpio also has to do with, toxicity. So you might have been in a toxic relationship, Leo. You might have even been in a toxic relationship with a Scorpio or a scorpionic person. It could have been any water sign here, right? Or maybe it was a water sign that had a lot of mercurial energy with the Six of Cups being here, right? There could have been an Aries, Scorpio involved, right? Cancer energy, right? Felt safe, because the Empress makes things feel safe for sure. Things are safe with the Empress, okay? You know? Anyway, but the Empress is also face value, right? It kind of is face value, because you got to kind of navigate through all of these things in this image to understand the Empress fully, right? So sometimes you may not be able to make it to all of those points because there is so much. You know what I mean? There's so much to soak up. There's so much to take in, right? There was so much to understand, because the threes are talking about understanding. You know what I mean? And the toxicity within a relationship may have made it, or the toxicity within the foundation of something made it hard to understand, right? And understanding the seventh house, Libra, right, which squares Cancer. The Chariot rules that house, right? Now let's look at your energy moving forward and out. Okay, see, look, that's what we're talking about. Relationship, right? Saturn and Libra, the realization of something, right? And you're getting that here, right after the Death card in the relationship, in the Venus position. Then you got a card that's ruled by Venus, right? Saturn is exalted in Libra. Saturn is also the other planet that's in Capricorn right now. Maybe you're dealing with somebody that's a Capricorn, you know? Because you did get the Three of Pentacles here related to the Empress, you know? That's Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, right? Karmic lessons learning, working on something, rebuilding, right? You could be rebuilding something. These two cards coming up together definitely is talking about rebuilding, repurposing something, right? Oh, shit. Queen of Cups just came out. She was in one of my decks, because I used these Adam Shanti. That's so weird. Queen of Cups, Cancer energy. right? Needing something, right? You guys might be feeling like you need something, you know? And she wants quality, not quantity, right? Because usually in the Queen of Cups image, she's got all these shells and things at her feet, right? It's kind of like it's all there, but she's not focusing on that. You know what I mean? Not focusing on material things. You're focusing on like how something feels, you know? And this is something not feeling good, you know, for some of you. You might be dealing with a Gemini, right? 3 of Swords. You might be dealing with a Libra for sure, right? Yeah, definitely. Or you just might be dealing with the Capricorn, right? Because Saturn in Libra, it's exalted. Okay? That 3 of Swords, it really is talking about, you know, not changing your mind about something. I'm not changing my mind about something. My mind can be changed. I can't see it differently, you know. I'm not going to be able to soften up to any of this, right? And it's kind of like you making a just decision, right? Because Libra is talking about justice and Saturn is talking about lessons, right? Lessons, karmic lessons within relationships. Relationships are karmic, and you learn some things about yourself and people, right? That's meant to teach you something that's meant to sort of like help guide you through life. You know what I mean? But the 3 of Swords is definitely a card that talks about, you know, third party, right? Cheating, perhaps, right? Definitely. More than one person getting involved in a relationship, perhaps, you know, right? This is like more than one person being involved in a relationship and one person really getting hurt the most, right? But who is that person that's getting hurt the most, right? But you know, it's saying that you're realizing something. You're realizing something that wasn't going to change, right? And that was how you saw something, right? Over time, a relationship, you know, just didn't feel good anymore because the 3 of Swords is also related to the Empress, right? And that's what I was talking about. Like you have to, once you get in a relationship and once things start to happen, once you start to, you know, see the Empress or once you approach the Empress, you're going to see the Empress, but then you're going to know all of these other things that go with that, right? And this is talking about knowing all of the things that go with that go with the relationship. What are all the harshness? What are all the harsh things that go with it, right? The things that we wish that we could change. You know, trying to change someone in a relationship, you know, sometimes you can't change people, right? A relationship definitely can change you, though. That's why it's karmic, because it does change you. So this is saying that a relationship has changed you, right? That's the karma. Hello. And in your future position, wow. The 4 of Swords. Still a relationship card. Jupiter and Libra, right? Expansions of your mind, right? This is also responsibility, right? Identifying with the personal responsibility that you have towards yourself, right? Showing yourself more respect, right? And not just making it about, you know, other people. It really is about you, being that it's a 4, right? Creating a safe space for yourself, right? And your head space, right? Clarity of the mind, right? Being able to think freely, right? And not let some not you know not let your thoughts be controlled, You know, this is rest and recover too. It's definitely rest and recover, recuperating, right? After this energy, because it's definitely after this energy, being that this is a 3 and this is a 4. That's good. You know, and the 4s do bring about some completion, right? This is completion as well, because this is my complete understanding that this is what it is. And by that, with that, this is what's going to happen. Because this is you asserting something, right? Right? In an orderly fashion, because the 4s do talk about something being kind of like set, right? You made your decision, right? Because the 4s do sort of like prompt, right? It's sort of like acknowledging something, right? Choosing to acknowledge something. So that's making a decision. Choosing to acknowledge something. Choosing to acknowledge yourself, right? What you want, right? And what you want from a relationship, right? So you might have realized this is not what I want from a relationship. I need to just kind of focus on me and have a better relationship with myself, right? I need to grow. I need to grow, right? And this is also talking about, you know, perhaps having a better relationship post that stage of growth, you know? Because sometimes when you come out of this 3 of Swords energy, it's not time for you to get into anything else. That's why this card comes after it. Sorry. Your last card at the top of the reading, Page of Swords, definitely talking about change, right? And we just got all these swords. I was talking about how you didn't have that many swords, and now you have quite a few, right? The 3, the 6. Wait, sorry. You have the 3, the 4, the 6, the Page, and the Knight. And the Page of Swords is talking about, you know, swiftness, clarity of the mind, right? Allowing yourself to change perspective, you know. Um, this is also talking about childish communication or childish thoughts, maybe opinions, right? That may not matter as much, you know. This is also talking about, you know, advice that might come from somebody, right? And it could be just kind of like unsolicited advice, right? So somebody could give you some unsolicited advice about something, um, and it could spark your imagination, right? And make you feel a little bit more optimistic about something, right? It's making you feel ready. This could even be a pep talk. Somebody could be giving you a pep talk and making you feel better about something. Maybe it already happened and you're already considering it. You know what I mean? But you're definitely completing something and you're putting something behind you, right? Because this is completing something right here. Hi, Oasis. And this 4 is completion, right? This 3 is completion in a sense because you're like, yeah, my mind's kind of made up about this, right? And with those completions, right, the Death card is definitely a completion. Yes. Transformation. A relationship has transformed you, or it is going to transform you, you know. For sure. And you just need to, it's like, I don't know, it's almost kind of like you need to talk to somebody or you need to communicate how you feel, right? Or you need to do something creative, or there needs to be some kind of like, maybe you need to express some things in a letter. Maybe you need to write to someone, right? Maybe you need to write it in a letter, right? And give it to them in some kind of way, shape, or form. Email or, yeah, text, whatever. Because it's saying that something needs to be expressed and something needs to be communicated, right? Closure, right? I think there's some closure that needs to happen. And this is talking about closure as well, right? Because you want to move forward. You have anxieties moving forward because you don't feel like you have closure. You know what I mean? And this is talking about closure needing, right? Closure as well, right? Anyway, let's pull a Romance Angels Oracle card for you since our battery hasn't died. And Leah, you have the death card here. Pluto is exalted in your sign. So, you know, you always transform. Okay. Stay optimistic about your love life for some of you. These are a bunch of messages, and I'm just going to give these individually. Stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. You know, staying forgiving and learning too, right? So with that, staying optimistic about your love life and realizing that, you know, the last person that broke your heart wasn't meant to, you know, make you not ever be able to love again. And they weren't put there to make you feel like no one was ever going to love you. You know what I mean? Forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. I was talking about the present right here, right? I was talking about the present right here, right? Healing from the past, closure, right? Healing from the past, the chariot, Cancer energy, definitely talking about healing. You know what I mean? Queen of Cups wants to heal, right? That's why this closure and this communication or something, this letter, is going to bring you closure, make you feel healed, like you're healing, less complacent, because you're stuck in an emotional place, because something needs to be outwardly expressed, right? And this is here, right? Page of Swords at the top. It is talking about talks, right? Conversations, announcements, right? And that announcement is probably going to come in the form of that letter that you're going to write. Or just, you know what I'm saying. Because sometimes you do just have to write. Maybe you just have to write the things down that you want to say, right? So that you can say them all, right? Because sometimes we always want to say so many things and we forget about everything that we wanted to say because, you know, anyway. Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. You know what I mean? I was talking about focusing on you. Focusing on you. Retreat. Disconnect from the world. Here it is right there. Right? Right? Disconnecting from the world. Retreat. It really is just focusing on you, bringing yourself into a state of, recalibrating, clearing out all that muck, all of that fog, right? It's kind of like refreshing your consciousness, clearing it out. Also your chakras, right? The seven chakras, the chariot card, right? Definitely. What else is here? True love. This is the romance of a lifetime for some of you. For some of you guys. That's not for very many of you because I have the death card and I have the three of swords here. Right? Okay. So those are gonna be your messages for this month of October, Leo. I don't know what's going on. You know, you have a few things happening here, but you're moving forward from some situation. You know, you're working towards something better, right? You definitely want something better. Yes. And you I feel like you're hopeful, right? That you can have something better. Work is very important to you right now and career. I just want you to be smart about how you go about doing it. You know what I mean? Or just how you exist within the changes and within the flow of this. You know, because the Empress is talking about, you know, impressions, right? And so is the Ace of Rods, first impressions. Okay? Um yeah. All right. Love it, Leo. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Definitely on Providence Tarot there. My private account is NYC Kendrick, and I'm also Kendrick NYC and the Tongue Pop. I read in New York City at Shanti Bookshop and Crystal Gallery every Sunday from 12 to 5. And yeah, you know, book a reading with me. You can pre-schedule it, you know, in advance so that you get the time that works best for you. I'll leave that information in the description box. I usually leave that information in the description box, and if I don't, I'll always go back and try to fill it in at some point. Okay? Um, thanks, Leo. Take back your power, baby. Right.